Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy, Ruther, and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the
Oh, wow. How long has it been since an Andy Ruther duffed intro? I think it's been years.
No.
It's been years.
I don't think it's been years.
I remember back in the day when we were just on Zoom only, you'd be, or on the Zoom recorder only, the pre-Zoom as an app. Zoom recorder only, you'd be like, all right, we're going to do that again. We're going to go again.
I wonder
now
if
we're live.
Yeah, I wonder if I still obviously have that. I wonder, like, some of these things I almost forget how to use. You know, it was like I busted out the old Mevo. I was like messing around with it. I was like, do I remember how to use this technology? Prano's coming in with the dark vibes. Like,
I know. I'm in my sister's basement and she's got like these overhead lights, and I'm trying to think, do I I take my thing off, and then now I'm just like, it looks like I'm under investigation. I guess the other move I could do here is I could lose my hat and I could dim the lights a little, but
do whatever. Come on, it's Dirty Sports. My shit's so bright.
Yeah, you're bright. I'm just like the shadowy figure.
Well,
I'll tell you what's not dark, Andy. This Miller Lite.
No, that Golden Pilsner is nice and bright, lighting up the screen right there.
I have a video. I'll send it to you. But I got here and I was like, went to my sister's fridge upstairs. There's no beers in it. I was like, oh God, here we go. I go, did Tony stop drinking? She's like, no, I think there's beers in like the basement fridge. I was like, okay. So I go down to the basement. I started videoing and I'm like, here we go. Let's see what my brother-in-law's got in the basement refrigerator. Opened it up. It was like the opening of The Simpsons. Ha! The Millers.
Now, full disclosure. Is that for you, or is he going to drink that?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they did my nephew's birthday party in May, and he did like the buckets and buckets, like he probably got 10 cases of different beers or whatever. And when I go into the fridge, it was all this and one can of Yingling. So it feels like it's probably the beer he doesn't drink. And I'm like, well, this works out perfectly for me. I don't want anything but this. So, but he's wearing the Let Prano Pitch shirt right now. So, like, I think he's a supporter. He supports the brand.
Let Prano Pitch. Shout out to Sideshow Network. R.I.P.
Yeah. R.I.P. Sideshow.
How many things have gone under since we started? Sideshow, Rabble. I'm trying to think. There's a few apps that would maybe be promoted in the early days. Gone. Just gone. But we've been doing it for 10 years, which means you should come to our 1,000th episode.
Wow. Are we going? Will Super Bowl this year be 10 years?
The AFC NFC Championship will be 10 years.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman, Aaron Andrews' famous interview, first episode.
Wow. Wild.
And if you want to pay $1,000, I might give you that episode. There's a lot of things shouldn't have been said on there.
That's the 1,000th episode deal. For $1,000, you can have any episode that you randomly choose.
You know what I'll do? I'll throw the DirtBalls a bone here. I just decided right now. I'll pull some interesting clips That
from
won't
episode 1.
that won't get me canceled or you canceled. I'll pull some clips from episode 1. I know for sure my voice is deep, which people don't realize. Your voice, like my voice, is deeper. I know now than it was.
Yeah.
I feel like yours is pretty similar.
We're gonna have to do a thing. Maybe the 1,000th episode in New Orleans, the live podcast that we'll be doing in December. Maybe we'll have to do like a portion of it that just continues and does not get aired. We just say all the things
Oh, I love it.
that we want to say that we could never say on the show.
Even better.
It's amazing how I was about to say something, but I'm not gonna do it. I'll tell you something off the air later. It's amazing how things change and how people have changed over the course of this podcast.
Well, there's an evolution. I have a kid now.
Yeah, you have a kid, but it's amazing. Like you would think, generally, everybody gets a little bit older, a little bit more mature, a little bit more like I don't mean it in the political sense. I mean it in a little bit more conservative about what they would say or what they would not say.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not speaking politically here.
Sure.
But not everybody. Some people go the other way, which is remarkable.
Yeah. I know some people like that in my life too, where I'm just like, not to name family member names, but I'm just like, what?
You're saying what word now?
What did you just say?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is crazy how things evolve, but I do like that idea. I like the idea of us playing stuff for the live show that, sorry you weren't there, you can't hear.
Yeah.
So
get your tickets to New Orleans now. Start your travel plans at the very least.
Yeah. And
I'm having a phone call with our hosts down there in New Orleans tomorrow.
And you know what? This first comment that I see here on YouTube is kind of a lead-in for tonight, and also maybe to go back to those early episodes. Ruther Curse destroying livelihoods left and right. You could argue the Ruther Curse was self-inflicted early dirty sports. I had a brain injury 2 months into the show.
Can you Ruther Curse yourself?
I'm just saying it happened.
Yeah.
And Evan will be there.
Hell yeah.
He got his plane ticket today.
I honestly, I'm worried about the levees in New Orleans with Ruther coming to town.
Playing that Led Zeppelin song.
What do we have? So obviously the left and the right. I assume first of all, the last episode we had a guest. That guest has not been to practice since because Drew is in the hospital for undisclosed reasons. I would assume he's the left, and then of course your boy Joe Burrow left the field on a cart today.
Well, Drew,
I mean, you have dove headfirst back into Bengals fandom. And the only man standing at the end of the week will be Zach Taylor. It's going to be Zach Taylor. Like they're going to catch a plague. Zach Taylor's going to have to hire Marvin Lewis to be his defensive coordinator and bring in Andy Dalton to be the head or the starting quarterback.
So Drew went to the first day of practice. He wasn't there yesterday. Zach Taylor said he had to go to the hospital. Like, this wasn't at practice. This was, he had to go to the hospital.
Not an injury.
Before practice. And I'm looking at updates. He was not at practice.
We didn't ask Drew if he was vaxxed, so we don't know if his heart exploded from the vaccine.
I'm not even gonna touch that. I don't like YouTube. I don't even go near that right now.
Good. YouTube should ban people that do that without dripping with sarcasm. I obviously was being sarcastic.
Well, that's again something I'm not touching as I scroll through to see any updates. He wasn't at practice again today. So I don't know. Like, I hope he's all right. Like, to be honest, a lot of you guys reached out to me and said, I have not reached out to him. Like I just met him 3 weeks ago, right?
Hey, buddy, I know you're in the hospital. Andy Ruther here, the Dirty Sports Podcast and the Chili Company. I just want to make sure everything's okay. See if you need some chili.
Yeah, I'm not sending him a text message right now. Like I hope it's all right, but I'm definitely not sending him a text. Now, we all saw what happened today at Bengals training camp. This happened.
And if you didn't see it, here it is.
Joe Burrow pulls up limp
On a calf that he already has wrapped.
Yeah, exactly. So he already had that calf wrapped, which to me would be like there was already probably something going on. I mean, just full disclosure for everybody, it's been hot. I don't know how this affects it. It's been hot as shit here. Like next level. Like, normally the temperature drops big time in the Midwest at night, East Coast at night. I don't know how it is where you're at, but like I'm talking
Can we rewind the video about 15 seconds? Yeah, okay, we can watch it out from here. Yeah, it's been hot, so maybe he just got a cramp and then he strained it because he's cramped. But can we talk about how Joe Burrow is driving Joe Burrow off the field on the cart? Like, are they trying to sneak Joe Burrow away? Are they doing a Mission Impossible switcheroo on us here? Watch the guy driving the car. Is that Joe Burrow? Driving Joe Burrow?
He doesn't look like Joe Burrow.
He sure does.
This guy does not look like Joe Burrow.
I think he looks exactly like Joe Burrow. He looks like Joe Burrow and Jim McMahon had a baby.
No, come on. Okay, I see a little Jim McMahon in him. No, he doesn't look like Burrow.
Kind of does, just without the longer hair.
Do you think if Burrow's hair was shorter? Well, I don't know. This might be my time to just throw a little shade the Bengals way. Get a indoor practice facility. It's not a giant, gross-looking bubble. I don't know.
Most of the teams practice outdoors, even if they have the indoor bubble right now. But I knew that was coming. I set my notifications on all the apps today. Set my notifications on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. Yeah. I was like, oh, is Ruther going to come out with get a fucking indoor practice facility?
Well, I just, it's nothing's changed. Like as far as the cheapness, I'm not, obviously I wasn't going to bring that up like with Drew. It's like, dude, you work for them. You're not going to say anything, but it's like the idea that like, oh, the Bengals aren't cheap any. Like, yeah, they are. They're still cheap. Like, come on. You should see the indoor practice facility though. Like, so it's like white and now it just looks dirty. Like when you drive by the freeway, my girlfriend and I, we always laugh. We're like, dude, like, can they clean that thing? Like
it's right by the freeway and it's probably like dust blowing off the freeway
right next to the river.
Yeah.
And right next to like it's not mining, but some plant. I mean, who knows? But look, end of the day, I assume he'll be all right, but obviously they need him. Like, it's like night and day. I mean, you talk about if he left, even if he missed 3 or 4 games.
Season over. I mean, I don't know who their backup is. But it feels like one of those teams where the fact that I don't know who the backup is, it's one of those all-in situations.
Yeah, you'd think, right? I don't know. I mean, it's just like...
Which is something that through the years, I mean, I would always be like, what are the Giants doing? They forever would have these guys, and you'd be like, the dude's never played a second of football at a professional level. I'd be like, yeah, he's going to back up Eli Manning. And then remarkably, obviously...
Trevor Siemian's their backup.
Okay.
I mean, not the worst.
Not the worst, but I mean, you could argue not the worst because he has experience.
That's what I would argue.
But technically could be the worst with experience. I mean, it's not Mike Glennon, but...
Remember that was John Elway's solution?
Oh, yeah, dude. Talk about the Ruther Curse. We've talked about the Elway Curse at length.
Like, since Peyton Manning, it's been a debacle. Now, we do have a discussion ready, and I'm ready to play a call soon, too, about Aaron Rodgers, because that's the big QB news this week.
It's the big QB news.
One of the big QB news, I should say.
For sure.
So Aaron Rodgers does something which, to my knowledge, I've never seen before. Have you ever seen this before?
Not precisely as it was handled, which was just, I didn't even know you could do that, to be totally honest with you.
I didn't either. He took a $35 million pay cut, not a deferment, not, like moving the money around like you're trying to, like people would do to
Not a
hide
restructuring, a full redoing of his contract, a reworking.
Just completely redid it and cut $35 million out of salary from the 2 years remaining that he had coming from Green Bay.
He should have made what over the next 2 years? He should have made 90 million or something like that.
I believe it was 110, and now he's going to make 75.
Okay.
I mean, look, he obviously, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But apparently he believes in the Jets. He believes in the situation, and
or he doesn't believe in the Jets. He doesn't believe in the Jets enough to think that they're good to go, but he believes in the Jets' ability to build something if they had a little bit more cap leeway.
Yeah.
Which you love to hear. I mean, I think it's great. It's absolutely, the guy, like we said, I don't know how much he's made in football, but it's a lot. He was the discount double check for a while. There's going to be no lack of opportunities for Aaron Rodgers after the fact. He doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy that, is buying fancy cars or flying private all over the place. I mean, maybe he is, who knows? But it seems like a fairly low-key guy. He's been in New York for a while. I haven't heard a ton of reports that he's, out clubbing every night. So he's got plenty of money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And he wants to win, and I think he knows with the culture that is the modern sports conversation that you can't just win 4 MVPs and be the best quarterback that we had literally ever seen play, because some dipshit on the internet will be like, 4 rings, 5 rings, 6 rings, 7 rings. 10 years from now, somebody will be like, Eli Manning's got 2 and Rodgers only has 1. And that person will be me. But
well, here's the thing, and I'm going to play the call here from Kyle Aronofsky, diehard Jets fan, also, who now has a bet with you.
Right.
Or the bet, not now, but you've had a bet with him.
Yeah. Does he bring that up? Is that mentioned in the?
No, the bet is not mentioned. I just thought of it right now.
Because I think we I think there was a restructuring of the bet. And I'm pretty sure Kyle and I settled on I'm almost positive we settled on the restructuring.
Oh, like a quarterback restructuring his contract.
Because they added a game.
Oh yeah.
We had a 10 game. I think now it's like 11 games and a playoff win, or 10 games and a playoff win, or something like that. It's not looking good for me this year, that's for sure.
Well,
but who saw Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets?
Yeah. Why don't I play the call and then we can discuss.
Going on, boys. Calling back once again from beautiful Toms River, New Jersey, home of the 1998 Little League World Series champion. I want to know, as outsiders of the New York Jets, what are your expectations of the Jets over the next, let's say, 2 years with Aaron Rodgers, and what would you consider a success? Is it Super Bowl or bust? And we have the longest playoff drought in, I think, all 4 professional sports now that the Sacramento Kings made the playoffs. We haven't made the playoffs since 2010. I would think I was in 7th grade the last time we made the playoffs. I'm going to be 26 in a week. So where do we put this? I mean, on social media, I'm seeing things about, it's Super Bowl or bust. Players are being quoted as saying that we want to win a Super Bowl. Rodgers is taking a less guaranteed money on his contract to win. But then the Jets are also outside of the top 10 in the power rankings. And I'm a pessimist. I'm a total pessimist Jets fan. But I think Garrett Wilson, who was so good last year with absolutely horrific quarterback play, I really think that he is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. We have a great running back tandem. Sauce Gardner, in my opinion, one of the best defensive players in the league. I think it's Super Bowl or bust over the next 2 years. The O-line's kind of getting shored up a bit, but I want to hear about it from an outsider. Expectations, predictions, and what would be successful. Remember, this is the Jets we're talking about. Haven't made the playoffs since before my balls dropped. Keep that in mind. Condoms are for the New England Patriots and their fans. Someone golfing told me that he was suffering the last few years after Brady. I wanted to fucking beat him to death with a 5-iron, fucking cunt.
Wow, there's the Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
What's that?
There's the Kyle we know and love coming.
Yeah, there's the little Sopranos character right there.
Just don't beat him to death inside my shower. You've already forced me to get one new shower curtain.
If you know, you know. So you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure.
We're probably gonna agree.
I'm happy to. I'll say this. Expectation. Let's start with what I think is success or failure or like kind of goals. To me, this is still the Jets. I'll be totally honest with you. It's the Jets. The idea that you have to win a Super Bowl for this 2-year Aaron Rodgers window to be a quote unquote success is ludicrous. You haven't made the playoffs in however long. You haven't been to the like the last time they played in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl III. I think that the bar for the goal, obviously, I mean, their goal is to win the Super Bowl, but I think 2 years from now, if Aaron Rodgers retires, or 3 years from now, if Aaron Rodgers retires, essentially in the whatever window Aaron Rodgers builds for himself, I think you need to make a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Because making a Super Bowl, sure, teams make the Super Bowl and then they lose and then they don't often go back. But there's the Jets certainly have a great young team and are going to have the ability to build on something. But if you have Aaron Rodgers now in a time where he's not just like a decrepit old man and you just win a wild card round or you get a 1 seed, which I don't think they will, and then win one playoff and you lose in an AFC championship game. You made 2 AFC championship games with Mark Sanchez. So to me, you have to win a Super Bowl, and at least what that does,
make it to a Super Bowl.
Make it to a Super Bowl is you set a precedent. It's not the same old Jets. We're a team that makes Super Bowls. And maybe we didn't win it with this quarterback, but we'll get the next guy who wants to sign a free agent deal and take a shot at it, or we'll get a young quarterback to come up and, get, taught by Aaron Rodgers or whatever the case may be. You got to make a Super Bowl. If the Jets don't make a Super Bowl in the Aaron Rodgers era, seems to me like that was a bit of a waste of a lot of money. Now, obviously, he's taking a pay cut. A waste of a lot of money, but also a waste of time that you're developing guys because you have these young receiver. You have a great young receiver on a rookie deal. You have running backs on rookie deals. You have Sauce Gardner on a rookie. Like, it's all the finances of it. So it's great that Aaron Rodgers has taken a little less money and given you a little bit more flexibility. But if all of a sudden now you've got to try to take some quarterback on a rookie deal and plug him in because you've paid all those guys, it's going to be just as hard. So it's kind of like what we've been talking about with these quarterbacks. Win on those rookie deals because eventually you're going to have to pay them. Now you're doing sort of the reverse, but it can work just the same. I think you have to at least make a Super Bowl for this to have been a success. Do I think that they'll make a Super Bowl? Well, I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl this year. Although I guess you would say if I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl this year, then I probably don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl in the Aaron Rodgers era because he's not getting any younger. But the idea of coming into a season where the Chiefs still exist on planet Earth and Patrick Mahomes is healthy and Joe Burrow and the Bengals are there, and okay, is a calf thing the opening? Justin Herbert still has a shitty coach, but like the idea of going into any season again that Patrick Mahomes is in your conference and saying like, yeah, I got the Jets penciled into the Super Bowl. I didn't even talk about the Bills. Seems dumb. Now, if somebody can obviously take that swing and predict it, and I'm not saying I'm not going to predict it on the, Dirty Sports preview episode as we see how things kind of come together in the preseason. But for me to sit here right now and say, I think the Jets go to the Super Bowl this year because Aaron Rodgers took a pay cut and they're good and young. You see?
As Prano fixes his mic. Yeah, I'd have to agree that the goal is to win a Super Bowl. It has to be. Like if you're a Jets fan, you got to treat it like a Super Bowl or bust. Now, if you make it, that's a huge win. If you just make it based on the history, you haven't been to playoffs since 2010. Like we said, you haven't been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 3, Joe Namath, the whole 9 yards. All that stuff. You had it, and then you just unplugged it. But like here's my expectations as an outsider. I'll just be straight up with everybody. I am like legit rooting for him to succeed and rooting for the Jets. So Brandon, you can say, oh, Bandy Andy's at like I am legit think it'd be such a great story if they went to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And to be honest, I already told you, I have Chiefs fatigue for sure. I just do. I have Chiefs fatigue. And, anybody but them in the Super Bowl. But that just shows how good they've been. That's why I have fatigue, because they've just been there so much. Now, I didn't feel the same way about the Patriots because, I had a hard on for Brady and for Belichick, and I don't know. I especially Belichick, I like it. Not the diss, like Andy Reid runs a great system too, but I just have Chiefs fatigue. Like, I think the division's gonna be real interesting now, right? The Bills, like where are the Bills now? I mean, you made
that's a great question, right? Because this time last year, everybody had them penciled into the Super Bowl,
me included.
Yeah, and I didn't understand it then. I wouldn't understand it if people had the Bills penciled into the Super Bowl now, or the Jets penciled in, or the Chargers penciled in, or whatever. It's like we can have Chiefs fatigue all we want, and I have Chiefs fatigue, and you sent me, and every other dirtball who knows I hate Taylor Swift sent me the fucking thing. I go, well, you just for Chiefs haters, you just missed your best shot. Travis Kelce tried to pull Taylor Swift into the Chiefs world. That would have derailed the whole thing immediately. It had been week 12 when you put out a 40-minute long song that the Chiefs are the embodiment of the patriarchy and all of them are the sole reason that like women can't fucking succeed on planet Earth. And then the, psychotic incel females would have gone to the stadium and thrown rocks at them, and that would have derailed the season immediately. But she apparently was not interested in Travis Kelce. Now, if you have Chiefs fatigue, you can hold out hope that she comes around. But we can have Chiefs fatigue all we want, but if like when we talk about what the Patriots were able to do, I mean, the combo of all the things, like you still need so many fucking little moving parts. I mean, we've all seen the meme of Belichick with the fucking binoculars and he's looking at the white wide receiver that played lacrosse in the 5th round. It's like, that's why, like, I know Tom Brady left and Tom Brady did what, Aaron Rodgers is essentially trying to do, and seeing a place that has an opportunity to win and injecting himself in that situation. I think Andy Reid could die tomorrow. I'm not wishing that upon them, obviously. But I think Andy Reid could die tomorrow, and I still wouldn't pick the Jets over the Chiefs, because I think just Patrick Mahomes is just a different.
He is, but
level.
I just think, I don't think you give Reid enough credit. I think he is, but Mahomes is that guy. But dude, I just think they those two together. It is very similar to Brady Belichick. Like, those two together are just so good.
But look at how many opportunities Reid had in the past. Never got it done. I mean, look how close he got to Super Bowls, got to 4 straight NFC Championship games. The thing for a while was like, look at what he's done with Alex Smith. Look at Donovan McNabb, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I think here's what I'll say about Patrick Mahomes and sort of with or without Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes certainly wouldn't be who he is today without Andy Reid. But I don't think Patrick Mahomes without Andy Reid starting today is suddenly going to be like, what plays should we run, guys? Like, I think he'd be fine. Like, I think he would.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like Patrick Mahomes would have made 5 straight AFC Championship games no matter what team he had gone on and what team, or who his coach was. But today, you take that away from him today, I still think we're talking about a guy who's like, I know what it takes to win in this league. I know I can do it. They took away Tyreek Hill. They took away defensive players over the last couple of years. They took away whatever. It's like, unless Andy Reid goes down and Travis Kelce goes down in the same fucking boating accident or something like that, like, I think he's going to be okay. And even then, I still don't know if I make somebody else the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a tough division, or it's a tough conference. I mean, it's
everybody's got question marks.
Sure.
The Chargers have a coach question mark. The Jets have a gelling question mark, a chemistry question mark. Is there enough veteran leadership question mark? They're still the fucking Jets question mark. The Bills have Josh Allen without Dable question mark, turnover prone question mark. Do they, is like they're saying, oh, everything's gonna be fine with Diggs. Is it? Is the defense going to be as good as it's been at times? But is it going to be as bad as it's been at times? Like, there's a lot of question marks. The Chiefs have the least of them by far. What's the question? What question mark do you have coming into this Chiefs camp? Will or will not Taylor Swift derail Travis Kelce's career?
We'll see about their O-line. Their O-line's been reshuffled. I'm just saying. And their defense is their defense. We know what that is. I'm just not saying like,
I'm not saying they're going to win 17 games. But Patrick Mahomes feels real prime Shaq-like right now, where it's just like, yeah, we're going to have a couple down games and we're going to look suspect at times, but like when push comes to shove and you got to outduel me, are you going to get it done when the big lights are on?
Yeah.
It really feels like prime Shaq, prime LeBron kind of vibes, where it's like every year for a decade, LeBron James was clearly the MVP. And then we just be like, who are we going to decide is like the cool, like 2 months into the season, we're going to be like, oh, is this Kevin Durant's MVP year? Is this Russell Westbrook's? Is this James Harden's? Is this guy's year? Is this guy's year? Like, dude, you can go on social media right now and still find people be like, Jalen Hurts is the fucking MVP. You're like, okay, I disagree.
Yeah. Well, Herbert got a contract.
Yeah.
So Herbert now has the highest overall contract. I'm hesitating because it's like these things get so confusing. Herbert has 5 years. I mean, even reading the tweets is confusing. Total new guarantees 185, potentially 218.7 guaranteed. But even like Herbert, okay, so the market's been reset with Herbert now is making the most overall again, but we're not including guarantee. I think we're talking per year.
Yeah. AAV.
Like he hasn't won a playoff game, man. Like I know their defense shot the bed, but you didn't score any points against the Jags. Like I like Herbert, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man.
Well, they scored some points against the Jags, didn't they? I mean, it wasn't a fucking comeback.
My point is, when that comeback, they put up like a field goal or something.
Yeah.
Like when the comeback started, like you couldn't put points when you had to. Like when you get this type of deal, you gotta go deep in the playoffs.
Well, listen, this is like you just gave him this deal, but listen, no one's got any question marks about Justin Herbert. It's not a matter of can he do it or can he not do it. We're not. This isn't Phillip Rivers, like like this isn't he is a freak when it comes to playing the quarterback position in terms of all the like measurables. Does he have the like Mr. Clutch if factor, like all that shit? Like, I guess you can't really find that out until you put a guy in that position. And the first round of the playoffs, when your defense gives up a major fucking comeback and your coach has been a buffoon the whole time, you don't really get to fucking prove that. I mean, let's say he had squeezed that game out, there's no sign that he goes on to win the fucking whole thing. Like Joe Burrow's shown us he has that, but you can win a Super Bowl without having that. You can find your way to a Super Bowl where you're, you dodge the team that you don't want to play, and then you get an easy fucking team from the NFC. Like, I think Justin Herbert very clearly has the ability to win a Super Bowl. I mean, statistically, he's doing it at a clip that no one's done it before. Again, not necessarily something you want out of your quarterback. You don't necessarily want your quarterback to have the most yards ever thrown 4 or 5 years, but there's no doubt about it when you give this guy the contract. But I don't even necessarily think that solidified it. I think it was obvious before they even give him the deal. This is a year. If you don't win multiple playoffs games this year, the coach has got to go.
But what would you say to this? And I'm just going to post this comment. Somebody just said, Herbert looks good at times, but they haven't won shit, and he has all the weapons around him. It's not. I mean, that's true.
But when you say he has all the weapons around him, all the weapons, and it's not like his offense, it's not like the offensive numbers aren't good. Winning and weapons don't necessarily go together as much as statistics and weapons. I mean, we've talked about it at length about the quarterbacks that we've seen get it done with a lack of weapons. I think in terms of putting up huge numbers, if you say, if you say, look at Daniel Jones' first couple of years and he had all these weapons, which obviously he didn't. But I'm just saying, if you look at a guy who had a pedestrian first few years, right? If he had been surrounded by weapons, you go, well, what the fuck are we doing here? Now Daniel Jones didn't have any weapons and he had a pedestrian first few years, and you're like, okay. So I think that's just that goes more hand in hand than necessarily winning.
Yeah.
I think when you talk about hasn't won shit, yeah, that playoff loss last year was bad. But if you look at, how long has the guy been in the league? 4 years?
Him and Burrow, the same draft class.
Right. Now, he's in Patrick Mahomes' division.
So this will be his 4th year.
Yeah. He's in Patrick Mahomes' division. Okay. So you got that. That's a factor. And we've also just got, I mean, no one is there. Do you think that there's a single Chargers fan alive, or maybe even a single football fan alive outside of Terry Bradshaw, I guess, that would be like, I'll take Staley over Herbert?
Bradshaw for sure would.
Bradshaw for sure would. But is there there can't be a Chargers fan who is like, gun to your head, one of them's got to go right now, is telling Herbert to hit the road. They've had some debacle coaching situations. One of them kept them out of the playoffs, right? One of them, blew a playoff game. I'm not saying Justin Herbert has the Eli Manning, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady. We know that these guys have big sterling silver clutch nutsacks. Okay? I'm not saying that. But we know he's talented enough to win a Super Bowl. You got to show me something better from a game plan. We've watched. I almost feel like Justin Herbert hasn't thrown for enough yards because of the way that they fucking mismanage the offense at times.
Yeah,
he's the only guy I see in the league today. This is including Patrick Mahomes. That where you can just have guys running 25-yard crossing routes. And he can just make the throw every fucking time.
Well,
it's hard to defend.
Was that the play against the Giants, that insane play?
Yes. I was
at that
game.
About?
I was in the end zone he threw it to, where he flicked his wrist and threw it 60 yards.
Across his body.
Yeah. Now, Patrick Mahomes has a great arm. But you can see, and if you watch quarterback, there's even a thing where he talks about, they're taking away the underneath stuff. Everybody forever was taking away him trying to go deep. And so then they started working underneath a lot more. And then they try to take away the underneath stuff. And he's like, I can't wait to go. I can't wait for teams to try to do that to me. Justin Herbert, though, is the only guy who's like, dude, you can be throwing middle of the field 25-yard cross and just be like, there's the ball. There it is. It's undefendable. And it feels like they never do it. And it feels like when they do it, it works every fucking time.
Did you see, sticking with that division, did you see the Sean Payton stuff today?
I don't know why he's doing this, to be totally honest with you.
What is happening? So, Sean Payton,
5-time Super Bowl winner Sean Payton. No, 1-time fluke Super Bowl winner Sean Payton is out there fucking acting as if he's Bill Belichick.
He said, this is on record with USA Today Sports, that Nathaniel Hackett and his staff with last year's Broncos was, in quotes, one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. And you need to explain this to me. And there were 20 dirty hands around Russell Wilson's worst career season. What does that mean?
Just, I guess, the coach was terrible. The offensive coordinator was terrible. This person was terrible. That essentially Russell Wilson was, that the whole organization mismanaged him.
And then he said, everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. So, okay, you have issue with last season. Last season was a total debacle. I get it. But then he goes at the Jets.
Yeah. Was he drunk? That's
what I wonder. He said it doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed, and that happened here. What does he mean? Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp, the circumstance, marching people around. What is he talking about? He's talking about last year. I'm sorry.
Right.
He's talking about last year. We're not doing any of that. This is where he takes the dig at the Jets. The Jets did that this year. Did you see what Robert Saleh said back?
No.
It's pretty funny. He said, I'm not going to acknowledge Sean. He's been in the league for a while. He can say whatever the hell he wants. As far as what we have going on here, I kind of live by the saying, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away.
Yeah. Hate us because they ain't us.
Week 5, they play.
Great. But it's amazing. Look. Listen, I have been a guy. If you go back on this show, I've accused Sean Payton of being overrated. I was the person that said last year, and you can look at it under fucking any of the convos are out there. I mean, most of my tweets are gone at this point, but everybody going, we need an offense. We need Sean Payton to fuck. I go, what you need is a defensive coach because you have a great defense already. And you need to dial Russell Wilson back into being the exact player he was when he was winning with a great defense. This idea that you're going to bring Sean Payton is there. Are we 2 weeks away from Sean Payton sitting down with the GM and convincing them to turn an H-back into a $25 million option running fucking Swiss Army knife? Like Sean Payton's career in the Saints, you have one Super Bowl. Winning Super Bowls is hard. But what I never understood was the treating, like Sean Payton gets treated as if he's some genius.
Okay,
he's some fucking guru.
I'm gonna ask you something then. This will be a fun conversation.
You could, Andy. I'll tell you one thing right now. Go ask casual football fans who's a better coach, Tom Coughlin or Sean Payton. You're going to get 95% Sean Payton's.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but that's an interesting one too. That's an interesting one. I was going to go with one-time Super Bowl winners. I was going to go with Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy, Mike Tomlin. What do we say on our show? What do we think? And then what does the casual football fan think?
Well, let me add one more to the list. Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is the best coach of those four.
Not even close.
By a long shot.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sean McVay. Is he the next best of those? And then I'd go Tomlin. And then I'd go Payton.
So you have Tomlin above Payton.
At least Tomlin has, when you look at the division that they were in.
True.
And the consistency of their performance in that division. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The random years throughout the Sean Payton tenure, it's just like, oh, the 7-9 Saints. Why?
I mean, they had some shitty defenses.
Well, if he's the fucking head coach of the football team.
I'm just saying, like they had some rough defensive years. And we just talked about it with Herbert. It's two sides of the ball.
Yeah. But you're the head coach. That's what I've always said about guys like Pete Carroll. Oh, we suck this year. It's our offensive line. Not sure it is. I mean, I think what we've seen with the way the Russell Wilson thing, and now Sean Payton's got that, is I think we've seen with the way that the veiled shots that Pete Carroll has taken at him, seems like his blueprint was undermined a little bit by giving the dude a ton of money.
Well, we have a hot take since we're going to New Orleans.
Oh, trust me, dude, I know all about it.
Slandering Sean Payton is a punishable offense down here in Nolia.
Dude, you know, I used to date a big Saints fan. She had literal Saint Payton fucking candles
what you know what's crazy about what he's saying to me is like you're really putting the pressure on.
You're really putting the pressure on for what's. I mean, is there anybody that doesn't live in Denver or is related to like a Denver? Like, does anybody think that they're not the third best team in that division at the highest? Like, Sean Payton's a better coach. Sean Payton's a better coach than Brandon Staley. Okay. That's probably the job Sean Payton should have angled for.
But what I'm saying is I don't know though, dude. Like you say third best. It's like I don't know what I still don't know what to make of the Chargers because of their coach.
But that's kind of my point. Is all of a sudden you're getting this tingle that the Broncos are going to be better than them because they have Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're fucking right.
Well, it's a career moment for both Peyton, right? Like it's a defining season, I'd almost argue, for both Peyton and Russell Wilson.
And when they sneak into the playoffs with the final wild card thing and they lose to the 2 seed, come back to this clip of me going, they are who we thought they were.
Well, but again,
they are who we thought they were.
You agreed. We both seem to agree if they get a playoff win, that's a successful season.
Yeah. And when they sneak in to the last playoff spot, when Sean Payton sneaks in the last playoff spot, when Russell Wilson does the 9-win season, and he goes 9-8, and they sneak in and they lose, they are who we thought they were, or who I thought they were, both, for the last fucking 5 years.
Tell me this doesn't get you excited. It gets me turned, man. I already have a shirt. We already have a shirt for Isla to wear on football Sundays.
I love it. What does it say?
I forget.
Is it a Bengals shirt?
No.
It's just a football shirt?
It's like Sundays are for football with dad or something.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. My girlfriend got it. Like, let's go. This is what it's all about. It's begun, Joe. Dirtballs, get ready. The Dirty Sports NFL podcast.
I know. Yeah. I was gonna say it's so funny because I was in an Uber from the airport to my sister's today, and I saw that the Angels played a doubleheader where Shohei Ohtani threw a shutout in the first game and hit his league-leading 37th homer in the second, and then almost immediately after reading that, Randy Ruther texted us about the Joe Burrow thing, and I was like, we're not going to talk about this for one fucking second on the show.
Oh, we just did. You
no,
just mentioned it. That's awesome.
I'm saying we're not. What? Shohei Ohtani?
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Didn't
saying.
even know he was leading the majors in home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with all the dirtballs out there. I have not watched a single baseball game this year.
Still, even with Ellie Delacroix, even with your boy Joey Votto back.
Again, I can't. I don't have access. And I haven't watched. Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, hey, if the Reds make it to the playoffs, I can actually watch them.
There you go.
I did watch Joey Votto's interview mocking Mad Dog.
Yeah.
It was a
Wasn't
whole
mocking
shtick.
him enough, if you ask me.
Yeah, I thought it was a kind of a weird shtick.
Yeah.
Everybody bonered out over it, and I was just like, but he was being nice with them, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's the Canadian in him.
100%. Now we got to about your boy, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Big shocker. I mean, I feel like this is kind of fallen with all the other news, but $11 million. He agrees. 1 year.
I have so many emotions about this. So many mixed emotions.
So is this correct? Can I just read this correctly? he could have skipped camp and made $10.1 million with no incentives.
Right.
He will report to camp to make $10.1 million and $909,000 in incentives. Is that all accurate?
Yeah. So essentially, he took the deal that was the tag, but you don't have to do anything but play, and like until you sign your tag, you don't have to do anything. So he wouldn't have been fined until missing games. So he has to practice, but that's part of the thing. He wants to practice. He wants to be there. He has been very open about it. He very much wants to be the starting running back on the New York Football Giants. Like, he's very happy on the team he's on. He wants to win there. He wants to be there. He wants to be there for a long time. That's the mixed emotions about it, which is my mixed emotions are this. I love Saquon Barkley. And as a guy who wants to see my football team succeed, the least amount of money that we could get Saquon Barkley to show up for is what's best for the team. But I also really love Saquon Barkley, and it's kind of crazy that he didn't essentially want to play for this amount of money, but now he's accepted to play for this amount of money. It gives me a similar feeling that I'm sure what Aaron Rodgers did today gives to Jets fans, which is Saquon Barkley showed up and he said, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was disappointed, but I want to be here for my team. I want to practice. I think we can build something special here. I think he believes that he has a team there where he can achieve not only those numbers that would get him a little bit of extra money, but also achieve in terms of leading this team to a truly great winning season that would only obviously increase his value as it comes to being marketable and being in New York and all that. Like, he wants to be there. He wants to win. I believe he believes they can win, and that makes you feel great. It is, again, it goes back to the thing. It's like, it just kind of sucks that the NFL takes advantage of these guys this way. And now he didn't even get a clause saying that they can't tag him next year. Like, he could be right back in this position next year.
But he knows he has no leverage, man.
Well, he doesn't have any leverage because that is where I think the situation also took from his leverage. Like, I think if he was on a shitty team, he would say, fuck it, I'm just not going to show up, because what do I really prove? Even if I go and I take a pounding and I get all these yards and whatever, but we don't win anything, then I leave there with people going like, see, he didn't even help them win. So I think the fact that they're a team on the come up with a coach and a GM that finally know what they're doing, and they just go, we don't need you. We'd love to have you. And we think it'd be great for us, and we think it'd be great for you, but we don't need you. And we're not about to bend over and put ourselves in a financial position where we're hurt just because we want you. And I think he saw that as an opportunity where his leverage is taken away there, but it's also gives him leverage going forward, because if he is what he thinks he can be on this team, then potentially they give him more money, or then he said, hey, look, we did it. Like, if they play the NFC championship game this year and he's a fucking MVP candidate, then he can go, cool, I'm not signing the tag next year, and I'll sit it out, and somebody else, you can trade me to somebody else or whatever. But I don't think that he did enough in the last couple of years with the injury, and I don't think they necessarily did enough last year as a team that made it say, hey, we can't do this without him. But I think he believes that they have an opportunity to go to a place this year where he can show that that is actually the case.
A lot of people are down on your boys this year.
I love that. And you know why? Because this makes me feel like Saquon believing it makes me believe it.
I mean, look, right now, I'm not saying these guys are great, but you have a lot of quality running backs that don't have jobs right now. I mean, it's crazy. Like, Dalvin Cook's not on a team right now. I know he's older. Ezekiel Elliott's not on a team. Leonard Fournette's not on a team. Like, you guys that just aren't on teams right now.
Yeah.
It just shows the current state of the running back position.
I'll just say this. We just talked about it. And this, you can call me out for being a Giants fan or whatever. I believe more in the New York Giants with their head coach. I believe the New York Giants have enough of a coaching advantage that I have more faith in the Giants leapfrogging the Cowboys in the NFC East because of their coaching advantage than I do the Broncos leapfrogging the Chargers in the AFC West because of their coaching advantage. I think the gap between Dable and McCarthy is wider than the gap between Payton and Brandon Staley. And both of those teams that are ahead, the Chargers and the Cowboys, on paper, from a player standpoint, from a roster standpoint, are more talented. The Cowboys are more talented than the Giants. The Chargers are more talented than the Broncos. And everybody's sort of going, oh, the Broncos are going to – Sean Payton's going to turn the Broncos around. I believe more in Dable leapfrogging the Cowboys than I do in Payton leapfrogging the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of, and again, I don't put too much into predictions. I've seen a lot of
Giants are going to regress.
yes, 7-10, a lot of 7-10s, which is interesting. I don't know. We got some time though. We got about 6 weeks before the season starts from today.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow Randy Ruther's Threads account, I believe it's 49 days until Bengals football starts.
Randy Ruther. God bless his heart. I couldn't stop laughing at the thing where he retweeted that still shot picture that he has. The outfit when he dressed like Burrow.
Yeah.
And the back just says Randy Ruther. Too funny. All right. Well, I look forward to it. Look, we got 6 weeks, Joe. We'll try to cover some other things. Look, you touched on a little Shohei Ohtani. That's our baseball talk for today. We actually have a baseball call.
Great.
So
well, Andy, do you know about the Shohei Ohtani situation in general right now? Do you know anything that's happening besides him being the best player in baseball?
It's a good chance he might be traded, right?
Well, no. Now the Angels have actually started acquiring guys. They're saying Ohtani off the table.
Clearly, I haven't followed.
Yeah, that's sort of a today development. They're within spitting distance of a wild card spot. They have the best player in baseball. They're going in, not out.
I'm sure people will be passionate about that in Orange County. I mean, Angels, one of the worst fan bases. Are they not?
I mean, I think that they're certainly they're yearly top 5 in just general indifference.
Right? Like, when I think of just like whatever fans, 100% the Angels.
Yeah.
There's no character to that stadium. Like, none. You want to get to a couple calls? Because I'll be honest, I'm an old man now. 9:45.
You've got to get up early, take your daughter to daycare,
She usually gets about 6.
leave her there for the day.
She loves daycare.
I've gotten a couple of DMs from dirtball dads that are like, "Is Ruther leaving his kid at daycare every day thing? It's unheard of."
What are you talking about?
I'm just telling you. I'm not
I know.
gonna
What are those guys talking about?
I'm not throwing any dirtballs under the bus because
Give me names.
mostly because I can't remember any names. But they're like, this kid's like 3 months old going to daycare.
I would love to talk, like on a serious note, I would love to talk to these dads and see if they were like stay-at-home dads.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they understand it. The irony again is that I was like, oh yeah,
stay-at-home dad card out right now.
I mean, I'm just saying. My girlfriend works every other weekend. Full-time dad duty. I put her to bed the majority of the time. I give her a bath majority of the time. I take her to daycare, pick her up majority of the time. Just saying. I wouldn't call myself a stay-at-home dad.
Fucking Michael Keaton over here, Mr. Mom.
Oh, I've been called Mr. Mom already. Trust me. I'm already brainwashing her. Do I know all the Cocoa Melon jams? Yeah. But what I would ask those dads, Joe, to go back to that is I would say, if she's here all day, well, first of all, I want to give a caveat. All the daycares, they don't allow part-time. This is where they get you. So I think that should be a disclaimer, right? They're all saying, you got to pay 5 days a week. None of them are going to say, hey, you can do 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
Because we could do that. Then it's a different situation for us. We can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cool. They don't allow that.
Now they allow you just to not drop her off, but you're paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I'm paying, so but again, it just
a free couple hours.
And also, just so everybody knows, now that DM me, DirtBall. If you DM Prano, you better DM me. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I would say half a dozen that were just half a dozen
6.
dirtball dads. I would say ballpark 5, 6 dirtball dads that were just like, they were like, Prano, you were like the general consensus were like, yeah, you were right to be surprised that the kid, like, it's kind of unheard of.
Well,
like,
also,
and I was like, oh, okay.
But I'm also doing a lot more work for Gold Star, so it's like, guys,
hey,
no,
listen,
I know, but I just
raise your kid however you fucking see fit, dude. You could tie your kid to a fucking dog run and leave her outside while you go to work. I don't give a fuck. That's your life. I'm not judging you. I don't have any children.
I know. I'm just putting it out there for the dirtballs. I would love you guys to, like, we'll have a legit serious conversation, and that's why I'm just putting it out there. Like, how many of these guys are having their significant other?
I mean, Tug's walking the picket line with his 3 kids every day.
That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't just, like, I couldn't. Let's take work out of it. Now that you brought this up, I can't just, like, go out and cut the grass. Like the thing about babies, you gotta be watching them 24/7.
Well, you could, like, put the baby to fucking down for a nap and go cut the grass with, like, a baby monitor, right?
Well, the monitor would, if I went outside, the Wi-Fi might lose. I've actually tested. I've tried to walk like how far can I walk Roscoe holding the baby monitor?
But you don't have like a Wi-Fi situation like on your phone kind of thing? Like you can't watch your kid from your phone?
There's a camera that's just connected to a monitor. Maybe I could.
My sister will be like on vacation and she'll be like, there's my kid asleep at home.
What's your sister have? Ask her.
I don't know. I'll find out for you.
I also don't want to pay more money for this shit. These kids are they're money pits, man. But I am also curious. Regardless,
my mom right now. So like my sister's upstairs.
Okay.
And my nephew's asleep.
Yeah.
Right. So my mom has an app on her phone. She could check in on the baby right now. She's across town.
So that one's obviously some sort of app connected to that.
And then
camera.
sometimes I'll go like for a walk through the fucking house And it'll be like motion detected. And my mom will be like, "Are you up still at 2 a.m. at your sister's house?" And I'll be like, "Jesus Christ. Hey, big brother, go to sleep."
Yeah, I don't know about this stuff. I'm sure obviously it exists. You said we got to upgrade. We're on base level.
I mean, you have an old school like play like it's coming through like walkie talkie shit. Like you're hearing your baby the whole day.
No, it's a camera on her crib, and then I have a monitor.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to get you on some high tech shit, dude. This is from the guy with an iPhone 7 to like 8 days ago.
It's iPhone 6S. Don't do me the justice that it was an iPhone 7. I do want these dirtballs to DM me though. I want you guys to show your faces, and I'm gonna grill you on your background. I mean, I'm not saying it's the hardest thing ever, for the record. We are very fortunate. We have a sweet little kid, and she's good. But come on, that's all. That's all I want them to know. Like, if we're doing the normal pod, dirtballs, that'd be my response to you guys. What's the baby doing? Joe and I are talking sports. What's she doing for those 2 hours?
I mean, okay, let me ask you something. Is there a world where like the baby naps for like 2 hours in the middle of the day and we start doing the podcast like mid nap?
There could be. Those are also sporadic, right?
Right. I don't know. That's why I asked.
No, She get a nap for 20 minutes or 2 hours. I don't know.
Right. Like my nephew's like, I think he's just recently, he just turned 3. So you can
probably get on a good schedule at that age.
Well, he just stopped doing the nap. Okay. But I would say for the last couple of years, for sure, it's like the kid goes down at noon or whatever, and then he naps till like 3, you know?
Yeah.
He's like up at 6, bed at noon, up at 3, bed at 8 or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm looking at YouTube. Fuck them kids, Ruther.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Guys, I you know what? She gets to watch me play Papa Shot a lot. So, there's that bonding time. By the way, Papa Shot posted my video on their Instagram.
Wow.
They asked me for permission.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's get to some calls. Before we do that, I just want to say, Joe, tell me. I'm gonna ask you this: you got a fridge full of Miller Lite.
The garage fridge.
Garage fridge, even better. What are the plans here? What are the plans? Because the summer has been golf, pool. You've had some Miller Lite time. What's the New York Miller Lite time?
Ooh, it's a great question, Andy. Well, first of all, I'm pretty low on shows this trip. I tried to keep my schedule a little bit lighter. Last time I've come to town, last few times I've come to town, it's been booked solid. So now, or in the past when I come to town, especially being up here in Westchester, it's like I can't get into like daytime, sister backyard Miller Lights because I'm a responsible consumer of Miller Lite. I can't be getting in my car at the end of the day, driving down to New York City to do shows, driving back after. But with the lighter schedule, summer, New York summer. I mean, tomorrow's Friday. Like, I'll probably be drinking a Miller Lite on my sister's back deck as early as 11 a.m. tomorrow. Probably get up, get some coffee, get a bacon, egg, and cheese since I'm in town. Cruise right into the Miller Lights. Figure out my day from there. Probably going to be playing some golf while I'm here. So there'll be Miller Lights consumed there. Going to go down to Atlantic City. There'll be Miller Lights consumed there. I think there's going to be some Hamptons-ing. There's going to be some boat time on Saturday with my brother. So there's going to be Miller Lights on the boat. I think I might make a stop at training camp. If anybody knows the story of Beergate, there'll probably be Miller Lights at training camp.
All right. Well, You heard it here first. With the Miller Lite in your hand, summer doesn't just taste great. It tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/dirty sports. Or you can pretty much find it anywhere that sells beer. Guys, it's available everywhere. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
You know, Andy, I was thinking before as I pulled my Miller Lite out of the garage fridge, I was just thinking about the best receptacles to pull a Miller Lite out of. You know, like pulling out of your regular fridge feels good.
Yeah.
Pulling out of your garage fridge feels better.
Yeah.
Pulling out of a mini fridge, now you're like, this fridge isn't even supposed to be here.
Do you still have that Miller Lite mini fridge?
It's in Chris Wilde's garage. It's in good hands. He's holding it for me until I can have a place for it again. It's in great hands though. But yeah, you're pulling it out of a cooler. You know, out of a barbecue, pulling out of a cooler, pulling out of the ice bucket. Oh, that might be the best one when it comes out pre-wet. Love that. Probably the last thing you want to pull it out of is like a convenience store fridge because now you're paying for it. Whereas if you've pulling out of all those other things, you've already paid for it.
What about this one? What about standing on the diving board? You're about to jump in. Somebody tosses you the Miller Lite. And it's cold. You jump in the pool with it, unopened. You come up from the water, crack it open.
Love it.
That reminded me of an old story. That's why I said that. I remember this true story. I remember being
true stories.
I remember being at a party and my freshman year of college back here in Cincinnati when I came home, and I was like, back in my go hard in the paint all day, all night. And it was like the next morning I was still up, and my buddy did that. He tossed me. I remember it was a Miller Lite across the pool, jumped in, and I'll never get the girl whose house it was came out. It was like 7 a.m. and she just goes, "Dude, you're still up?" And I'm like drinking. And I remember there was a few other Miller Lights just floating in the pool. And
she was like, "You're still up," and you're like, "You still have unopened Miller Lights." And when you're out, I'll be out.
No, I think actually what I did was I sauntered into that fridge and made a big ham sandwich or something.
Scooby-Doo.
That was my go-to back in the day. The
make a sandwich.
Oh, go into the fridge, you'd be all lit and shit.
I just remembered the reason I made a Scooby-Doo reference. I went on tour with my buddy Doug, famous for his Kooks of Comedy intro song. He was touring with Ziggy Marley one time, and I was broke back in the day, like I was broke, and he's like, "Dude, I got a part-time job for you. Come on tour with me. I'll throw you a couple bucks. We'll make some videos. We'll do the whole thing." And I went into the green room. One of the first things, he was like on stage, and I was like, all right. And I took a couple videos, and then I went into the green room, and they had put out this huge, like, make your own sandwich spread. It was just like all the meats, all the cheeses, all the breads, mayo, mustard. I truly made like a quadruple decker sandwich. I was so fucking hungry, and I was like, I'm gonna eat all this before any of the other bands get here, before Ziggy Marley's stoned fucking backing band gets here. And he walked in. Doug came off stage and walked into me making a fucking sandwich. Like I was like shuffling cards. He's like, "Dude, are you literally Scooby-Dooing the whole fucking sandwich spread right now?" He's like, "I've never seen somebody pile high a sandwich that high." I was like, "Bro, I'm starving."
Oh my God.
He's like, "I don't even think you'll be able to get it in your mouth." I was like, "Watch me, bro. This is soft bread. I'm gonna squish this shit down."
Have I ever told the story about me making the sandwich buck naked at my parents' house at like 7 a.m.?
Who came in and found you? Walt?
Thank God they didn't find me. I was dude, I gotta tell this one real quick.
I mean, I just imagine your mom finding you and then being like, Andy's naked in this.
Well,
It's what?
That's what I'm like. Thank God it didn't happen. This is after my sophomore year of college. I'd usually come home for the summer and work, and I got I was always like the naked guy. Like we go to my buddy works at a restaurant. They have a pool there. Long story. They would do after hours. Like the restaurant owner didn't know. They do like after hours pool bashes. He invites us. And this is actually true. I actually remember vividly picking up a 30-pack of Miller Lite. True story. And we go there, we're all hanging out. I get naked in the pool. People are like, who the hell is this guy? I'm that weird guy. And I refuse to put my clothes back on. And we go back to my parents. And my buddy ended up crashing.
Get in somebody's car naked?
Buck naked. Completely naked. And at this point, the sun is up. And like my buddies are laughing, but they're also like, my one buddy is going to crash at my parents' house. And he kept being like, dude, put your clothes on. And I don't know if you remember, my parents have like a long driveway.
Yeah.
He kept being like, put your clothes on. The sun is up. He's like, your mom is going to be up. Like at this time of my mom's life, she used to love going to like flea markets, and she like got in. That's a whole weird world she got into, like garage sales. And he's like, she's gonna be up going to a garage sale. She's gonna be eating breakfast, and I'm just laughing drunk, and we make it up the driveway. I'm buck naked. Like my buddy hands me my clothes, I just throw them on the street, and we walk up, and he's also laughing, like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, he's like, I can only warn you so many times. After that, it's really not my fault.
Yeah, I'm literally 20 years old, and we get up to my parents' house, and I walk in completely nude, and he's like, "Get the bed," and it's my buddy. I'm not gonna say that, but he went to Notre Dame, one of my good buddies, and he's like, "No, let's just go to your room. Let's crash. Let's go to your room." And we go in my room, and I go, "Man, I'm starving." I was like, "I got the munchies," and he's like, "Dude, do not." And I walk out to the fridge, and I'll never forget, he could not stop laughing. He found me bent over, just kind of like you, making the fattest like ham and turkey sandwich, buck naked. Like I'm literally bent. I start making it like almost in the fridge. And he's like, "What are you doing, dude? Get to bed." And anyway, I pass out. I eat the food. I pass out. And he calls me like later that afternoon. And he's like, "Dude, I don't know how you avoided that." He goes, "Your mom, when I got up, your mom was there, and she's like, someone left their clothes in the middle of the street. Luckily, my car was parked there." I said, "Oh, they must have fallen." I was like, "It was your clothes. Your mom didn't realize it." It's like, if your mom would have found, I don't know what your mom would have done if she would just found you buck naked making a sandwich.
Just spread mayo in Walt's kitchen. How dare you?
Anyway, good times. All right, let's get to we'll do a baseball call and a dirty sports related call first. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline.
Hey, DirtBalls. Former Florida DirtBall, now Chicago DirtBall. First question, what happened to ranking DirtBalls for committing heinous acts in their tri-state areas? Did I miss something? Second question, more for Joe Prano. What should my Cubs do? They got Bellinger on a one-year deal. Stroman's looking for an extension. Front office has been saying it's a retool for the past 3 years. They've been sellers for the past 3 years. Joe Prano, how do my Cubs get back to the 2016 glory days? As always, condoms are for Major League Baseball's marketing team.
I mean, I hate to say it, but you sell again. You know, like Marcus Stroman looking for an extension. Not that, I mean, I think he likes Chicago, and it seems like he's happy there. But for right now, I hate to say it, but like, because I hate them, but like, you add Marcus Stroman to the Braves. That's a fucking nice piece for them. And they've got a very deep, farm system. Bellinger, he's not, he probably will not command as much, but like you got him on a 1-year show me deal. Do you move him? Like the thing about baseball is like you kind of just do have to keep doubling down on that. I mean, that's precisely like the Mets made a lot of moves and it didn't work out. And now people are like, oh, are they, they're like kind of within reach of a wild card. Do you do this? I go, why? Why would you do that? Like you have to, you kind of just have to double down if there's a market out there for the Verlanders and the Scherzers and the whatever, which there probably isn't. You just move them because you kind of know at this point right now whether or not you're going to win the World Series this year. And the Cubs aren't, and the Mets aren't. So it's, hope springs eternal. You've got to get the value you can get and keep continuing to like just because the first attempt or the rebuild attempt hasn't gone as quickly, or that this year isn't the one that they leaped into or whatever. It's like, that doesn't mean it's not the right course. You need to stay on that course. It's kind of like with the Sixers, you kind of got to trust the process, but then you've got to know when to abandon the process and go for it. And I think right now it's like the Cubs spent a little bit this offseason, but
6 games back.
Right. But and the Cubs have great fans, and the baseball's weird. All these sports are different. Super Bowl or bust in the NFL because you got to sell. You don't have to sell tickets. Baseball, you got to be competitive. But dude, the Cubs could literally trade every single guy on the roster. This is not a joke. The Cubs, with the franchise they have, could trade every single player on their major league roster and put an entire new team together next year. And Cubs fans would approach opening day with the same sort of passion. They're Cubs fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not saying that they're out of it, but I'm just saying if your question is not how are the Cubs relevant year in and year out, the question is, how do we get back to the 2016 Cubs that won the World Series? Well, remember what those 2016 Cubs had. You had young players that came up in the system. You added vets to it. You won a World Series. But the Javi Baez's and the Chris Bryants, those were that, and the Rizzos, Anthony Rizzo's, that was the core of that team.
Yeah.
And then you surrounded them with good other pieces. You've got to continue to retool and you got to continue to rebuild. I mean, you can love Marcus Stroman all you want, but like, so fucking re-sign him as a free agent in December or whatever.
By the way, he's like, whatever happened to the DirtBall rankings? Bro, we've done that in like 5 years. Like, I'm just saying, like, I couldn't tell you the last time we did a DirtBall fan ranking.
Well, I know I can tell you one thing. The next one we do, I don't think you can make the list unless you're at the 1000th episode in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's hard to be it's going to be hard to be a new jacket earner. I mean, some jackets are out there. It's going to be hard to be. The 1000th episode is like 500 home runs.
Yeah.
If you're not there, it's going to be hard to make an argument against the guys that have come before you.
Sure. I did get a DM about an ordained minister in case I really do want to get married.
I love this.
So if
we'll get I think you should do it just so that Dirtballs can give you some wedding gifts. Maybe we can give you a baby monitor that was made this century.
So shout out to Ron Kennedy, Dirtball Ron. It's a good little. Sounds good. Dirtball Ron. Anyway, he's like, dude, I'm an ordained minister in Louisiana. I don't know if you're serious, but oh, look, Ron is shouting out in caps. I'm down to do it, Ruther. Just let me know. I don't think it's really up to me in this situation. I think it's up to the lady. That'd be pretty funny.
Be amazing.
So we have a response to your call. 4 calls on Kirk Cousins.
Oh, great. I love this.
I didn't think there'd be many, but we got one.
Great.
Just a Vikings fan wanted to respond to watching.
I love it. I just want honest Viking fan feedback.
And that's what this is.
As Brandon from Minnesota, I would consider myself a reasonable Vikings fan. I'm listening to your call right now in the sweltering 94-degree heat wave that we have right now in Minnesota. But to get to your point, it's a very polarized state right now with quarterback. You either love Kirk Cousins more or you hate him more. And I fall on the good God, how is this guy a quarterback in a locker room of actual adult men? So that's obviously my position, but I've had many, many arguments with people that call him super tough and, God, he's so cool, he's fun, he's chill. You know, good God. And aside from that, quarterback as a whole, you know, I've said it 100 times. I think the show should actually be called Annoying Ass Wives Whose Husbands Just So Happen to Play Football. Because that's what it is. Sorry for taking up too much time, but yeah, Kirk sucks.
Interesting, and it doesn't surprise me, right? That's how the fans in Minnesota are.
Of course, but there are. I mean, that I think that's something that I've for sure noticed over the years is like there's just Kirk Cousins ride or diers, and they're not going anywhere. And listen, it's not that Kirk Cousins doesn't come off like a nice guy on the show. He comes off as a nice guy, you know. The toughness thing. I mean, have you continued to watch?
I'm still almost.
There's a whole episode where he keeps taking shots, and I'll say the toughness thing is like it is what it is, but also like I don't know. There's a little bit about me where it's like, yes, not missing games to be an NFL quarterback and take those hits, and just to not miss games and not miss plays is like, of course you're tough. Like, of course, Kirk Cousins is tough. But there's a whole episode where Kirk Cousins is like, oh, man, like for an episode, Andy. For an episode, it's just like, oh, man, and you're like, dude, I see Patrick Mahomes is taking some shots in this show, too. He's not doing the Peter Griffin fucking stubbed his knee. Ow, for like a fucking full episode. Like there's a little bit about me where I'm like, if I'm Kirk's teammate, the whole like, ow, my pussy hurts kind of, I'm not sure if I'm a ride or die Kirk follower.
Yeah, like I said, he just doesn't, this is for me, he just doesn't invoke, I'm not like, dude, I want to play for this guy. Like if I'm a teammate.
Well, the thing is, you know, you always hear like, makes me want to run through a wall. Right? I think if you're in the locker room with Kirk Cousins and it's like, you make me want to run through a wall, he'd be like, whoa. Walls are expensive, man. What do you mean you run through a wall? I just had my guy redo my man cave, and walls are not easy to run through. I don't know if you should be doing that. You're like, all right, fuck you, Kirk. Forget it.
So like you have your rah-rah guys. And then you just have guys who are like that are not rah-rah, but they just have it. He doesn't have either of those, man.
Well, he feels like one of the, like we said about Jameis, right? When we watched him on Hard Knocks, he feels like a fraudulent rah-rah guy. It feels cringy when he's doing it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like we talked about Aaron Rodgers earlier in the show. Aaron Rodgers isn't a rah-rah guy.
No.
I can tell you one thing about those Jets players without even knowing the situation. Those guys want to play with him.
Yeah.
Even though he's brand new, all those guys are like,
you don't have to be a rah-rah guy when you're one of those dudes who's like play speaks for itself. And it's
exactly.
just like, God, man, he just makes throws that no one else has ever made. The ball just comes out faster. It's just better. It's just the way he moves. Just like, God, to be, I've caught balls from 10 receivers in my career. None of them throw the ball. I don't think anybody's leaving a Kirk Cousins, workout being like, there's no guy who could do it like Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins was essentially drafted via backup.
Yeah, no, exactly. The women on the show
are awful.
Well, have you seen, Joe? Have you seen what's going on with the show? Have you followed any of this?
No.
They can't get anybody to do it. You haven't seen this?
They want to do a season 2.
Dude, they couldn't get anybody to do season 1. You haven't seen this?
No.
They couldn't get anybody to do season 1. So season 2, Fields has already turned it down. Matthew Stafford turned down season 1. Joe Burrow turned down season 2. Jalen Hurts turned down season either 1 or 2. They can't get anybody to do it. Which is interesting. Obviously, Peyton Manning's executive producer, but they can't get anybody to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like Hard Knocks too, because like, dude, if the camera's in the locker room, even if it's just following one guy around, like the camera's there.
Yeah. No, 100%. But they're struggling.
It's amazing.
So I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Give us a shout.
I will be in Atlantic City next weekend, Andy. August 4th and 5th at the Claridge Casino, Atlantic City Comedy Club. I just posted on all of my social media today multiple posts from myself, multiple posts from the club with links. Get your tickets to the show now. Friday, August 4th, 2 shows. Saturday, August 5th, 2 shows. Claridge Casino, Atlantic City Comedy Club. I will be back in LA. Bunch of shows in LA right after I get back. A couple great shows at the Improv, a couple great shows in and around LA. And then I'm back off to Colorado less than a week after I get back. August 13th, I'll be in Boulder. August 14th, I'll perhaps be at Red Rocks for a Strokes concert. We'll see. 15th, 17th in Denver, 18th, 19th in Steamboat, Colorado, Steamboat Springs, and then back in LA again. Lots of shows coming up. Vegas coming up. Alaska coming up. Just keep your eye on it all at joeprano.com. But first things first, if you're in Colorado or if you're in and around New Jersey, Atlantic City Comedy Club this weekend, and then a Colorado run. Be there.
Word. All right, guys, that's our show. Have a lovely weekend. We'll be back on Monday. And as always, stay dirty.